Thanks for tuning this episode of Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have a marvelous guest. We have the multi-talented actor, producer, and former boxer Aleks Paunovic. Alex is known for his roles in Marvel's Hawkeye, Kindergarten Cop 2, Snowpiercer, The Olympians, Reacher, Percy Jackson, Suits LA, and many more. Alex's journey from the boxing ring to Hollywood is truly inspiring, and he's now returning to his roots in the upcoming Amazon and Michael B. Jordan Muhammad Ali series, The Greatest, which is set for release next year in 2026. Alex is also the co-founder of Legend Water, a brand championing wellness and mental health advocacy for the future. Welcome to the multi-talented Alex, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right, let's jump straight into it. Take us back. Tell us about your
Yeah.
background growing up. You're from Canada and everything relating to that.
Yeah, I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, my hometown. Most of my family's still there. And I grew up playing music. I grew up, I guess, started at 15 years old playing in a metal band with most of my friends, and that was my passion, and that was my thing, to be the rock star and write songs and perform them live. And it was one of those switches into acting later on where I understood that, I loved playing live and I loved the idea of telling stories through music. And now, I found my way into acting and I'm telling stories through film. So it's kind of a parallel there. And even with boxing, I had like three generations of boxers in my family. So boxing was a big part of it, but I also treated boxing as an art. You can't get emotional with it. You have to keep your calm, and it's about repetition, just like learning a script and learning lines. It's about repetition. And you can have all the combinations in the book as a boxer, but going back to the simplest form, which is everything works off the jab, which is the easiest punch and the most effective punch. So you transfer that into acting. For me personally, was, always start simple, always start small, be okay with it being boring because the jab can be boring when you're working on it. And like I remember my dad making me throw the jab 500 times on the heavy bag, and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to fight. But it all starts with the simplicity of that one punch, and then you work off of that. And same goes with acting, just being the boredom, embrace the boredom and embrace the repetition. And then all of a sudden, it's in your bones when you get to set and whatever's being thrown at you with what you imagined what the set would look like, what you thought the desk was over here, but now it's over here, and how the shots are going to be taking place. You go down to your root and it's in your body. So whatever is thrown at you, that's the immediate response that the lines are there. Same with boxing. Whatever happens in the ring, you can always throw the jab. So, and with music to me is again storytelling. So I was really fortunate to grow up with some amazing dudes. We recorded, we played live. That was our big thing, is playing live. And then I think I was playing in a bar in Winnipeg, and a casting director saw me and asked if I would audition for a film. And at the time, I had no idea about acting. There was not there, but I'm very much a yes guy. I love saying yes to opportunities, and if I like it, great. If I don't, then I learn from it. And I said yes, and I realized that I enjoyed it. And I didn't jump into it right away. It took me a little bit of time once the band broke up to really fall in love with the idea of acting. So I got another job in my hometown of Winnipeg, and I became a part of the stunt team there because I'm 6'5", and so they didn't have any big dudes there. So I was lucky enough that Rick Skeen, who was a stunt coordinator in Winnipeg, took me under his wing and taught me the ropes. And then I got to the point where, even though I have so much respect for stunt guys, I wanted to tell stories in film. And it's hard to tell stories in film when you're a stunt guy. You don't get taken seriously as an actor. So the money that I was making, I decided to turn down just to start auditioning straight acting gigs. And then I was doing some things. I decided to go to the National Institute of Broadcast, which was in Winnipeg, so I can learn everything behind the camera, also in front of the cam, how to edit, how to do all that stuff, how to build stories. Was a cameraman for some for the football team there, and I had some really great experiences. And I just thought, I don't know if I can't make it in front of the camera, maybe I'll learn something behind the camera. And I was pretty broke at the time, and I was playing in a cover band and doing the National Institute of Broadcasting during the day. And then I made the decision to go to Vancouver on my way to Los Angeles. And that was when 9/11 happened. So I ended up staying in Vancouver because I couldn't get to the States because of 9/11, and started building a career here. I, didn't get gigs right away, so I was teaching boxing here. And then it just kind of evolved into, getting a little bit of work. But then once I decided to do a play with a friend of mine, Jason Good directing, a play called Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. That specific project, I've never done a play before, and it's a beast of a play. It's a two-hander, 90 minutes, written by Shanley, a beast of a play. And I had some great people around me helping me build a character. And I had the live experience of playing in a band, so I wasn't really scared of being in front of people. I was more nervous about the lines and telling the story the way it should be told. But I ended up really having a great time. And again, I had great support around me. I was nominated for that performance for my very first stage performance. And I realized that, I think any actor needs to do a play of some sort to put themselves in a position of telling a story from a character's point of view for a full 90 minutes, not just the little pieces of an audition, or you get to set in little pieces of, okay, action cut, and that's it. You have to experience the gamut, which makes you dive into the characters so much more deeply. And once I did that, I started booking more. I think my body and my energy walking into the room was a lot more confident. And I didn't know that before I did the play. I thought I was on point, but when you raise the bar, you see that the bar can be raised. And I think the bars for people should always be raised. So that experience helped me basically start working, and I haven't really stopped working since. I've been very fortunate with it. And so, yeah, that just kind of took me into, doing a bunch of projects all over the world. I shot in Antarctica, I shot in China. Um, I've just been very, very fortunate to shoot in some pretty unique places.
It's incredible. It's an amazing story, and thank you for sharing that. And it's great insights. All right, tell me
Yeah.
about the upcoming series, the Muhammad Ali, the Greatest series. Tell me about that and the background behind it.
Well, like, I mean, honestly, my whole career can end right now because of the show. Because, like I said,
Mm.
I come from three generations of boxers. My favorite boxer is Muhammad Ali. Um, and getting the opportunity to help tell his story in such a grand scale. Um, Ben Watkins is a showrunner, and Blaze Watkins, his son, is an amazing writer, and them being a part of it with some great directors coming in, a great cast. Amari Hardwick is on this. It's one of those things where I think it was about four auditions before I got it, and what I didn't realize at the time, but I now go, oh, I need to remember this for almost everything that I do, was I was just happy to have an audition. So once I got the audition, I was never thinking what the next step would be. I was just excited that I could say I auditioned for this. And then when I got the second audition, I'm just excited that I could tell people I got two auditions for it. My brain never went into, oh, I'm going to see me on the billboard or me on set. I was just very present, not thinking that I should be present. I just was. I was just ecstatic that I had this opportunity. And it got to the point where I went to the screen test. And again, I was just excited just to be at the screen test, to tell my friends and family that I went to the screen test for this. But then I ended up booking it. And again, I'm so grateful to Ben Watkins and the team. And I got to be a part of something that I have been a part of basically since I was 5 years old, which was watching the life of Muhammad Ali. And the way he conducted himself in the ring, how unorthodox he was compared to other boxers, but he made it work for him because of his confidence. And he had all those poems of when he was going to do things in the ring, and his word to himself outside of the ring and what he stood for. When he decided not to take the step over for the Vietnam War, he basically lost 3 years of the prime boxing life that he had. That was his prime, and he could have easily stepped over, and he would have been doing exhibitions for morale in the army. But he just knew it wasn't right for him, and it was wrong. That those are the convictions that I really grew up with, and then getting this opportunity to tell this story. I play William Faversham Jr., who was his first manager coming out of the Olympics, leading him towards the heavyweight title of the world. And the relationship that the two characters have is very much a built with a lot of respect, especially in a time in the '60s where civil rights and racism were a big part of it. They didn't believe in that, and you could see that in their friendship. And so, yeah, I'm just so ecstatic that I'm a part of this, and I can't wait for people to see it. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm excited to watch it. It sounds amazing. Tell me about your water legend. Tell me about that and the background behind that.
Sure, yeah. I got together with some friends. Actually, I'm gonna drop a name here.
Sure.
Jason Momoa, a good friend of mine, started his water company, and that's when I really kind of took notice of how bad plastics were in the environment, and it was always on set, and how he wanted to replace that on set and just do the little bit for the environment that he could. And and it wasn't like I was searching for this opportunity. The opportunity just came to me with some friends, and they were thinking about doing something like this. And I'm like, dude, like I'm on set all the time, and all there is plastic, and how bad plastic is for you. You can drink a week's worth of plastic on set, and that equates to the size of a credit card that enters your bloodstream of plastic, and it's just insane to me. So as we were talking about it, I really wanted to do something special with it to obviously get it on sets, but also we have a QR code that says Legends Supporting Legends, which goes to a suicide crisis hotline and rehab facilities across Canada. So we really wanted to do something for mental health, and take the stigma out of that it's not okay to talk about things that are troubling you, that it's not a tough guy thing. Well, I think, like, I've had my bouts with depression in the world, and I think a lot of people have gone through some sort of mental issue. So I really wanted to make that a staple point within our product, and it doesn't hurt that we have probably one of the best tasting waters out there, alkaline at 8, and yeah, it's called Legend Water, and I'm just super excited to be a part of that.
That's amazing. Tell me about when you look back at your career today, what's something you look back at and go, well, that's incredible. And it's like a pinch me moment.
Oh man, there's so many of those. I think one of the biggest ones is just being able to shoot in Antarctica with some great friends. And um the film uh, hasn't gotten made yet, but we had the experience to go and shoot in Antarctica. Rick Dugdale, a good friend of mine, an amazing producer, and just basically landing on the ice, living in tents, getting through a storm, and being able to take in that part of the world. That's probably one of the most special moments that I had in my career. Um, and being a part of a job like this that led me to that, it's just that's really special. And doing a couple films with Anthony Hopkins is another reason why I just pinch myself all the time, because he's one of my faves. So those are the things that really stand out for me. It always has to deal with relationships. To me, you know, it's rare you can be part of, like a historic movie or a classic. Those are so far and few to come between. And what I really see is, you take the jobs where you can, you hopefully love the material, you find a piece of the material that you can go to work every day and enjoy it and help tell that story, which I love. But it's really about relationships and building friendships and hoping to work with those people again, and then actually seeking those people out to work on different projects again. So yeah, relationships is the big thing for me.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing. What inspires you daily?
People, man. I just, not just the wins. I love seeing people go through adversity and come out the other side and learn from something. And I think the struggles is what makes life beautiful. If it was all one note of wins, you're not really going to go through the gamut of what really matters and what you would walk through fire for. So those kind of experiences with people and how they persevere, those are the ones that kind of push me over the edge of inspiration and walking through the fires.
Yeah, great. And what's the best piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
I've told this story before. I think it has to be Hopkins. I remember asking Hopkins on set, and I had my hand gestures up in the air when I was asking him this. Plus, I was nervous because I'm asking him some advice. And
Yeah.
I was like, "So what did you do?" And my hand gestures are up, and I'm like, "What did you do, or what do you do that sets you aside from everybody else with the performance that you do? Like, what is it that you do?" And he just looked at me and said, "You'll never get there." In the nicest voice, just very kind, "You'll never get that," which kind of shocked me. But then he said, because he says, "You're making this gesture, which you've already put me on a pedestal. But what we just did in this film, it was just you and I playing and prepared and being open to improv and then being open to collaborate. What we just did, that's what I do." But when you put your arms like this, you've already put yourself on a pedestal, no matter what I say. Um, I'm never going to reach that. And he was like, "I didn't even put me there. You put me there." So if you
Mm.
take that away and just talk face to face, then you can reach whatever pinnacle you want to reach with the advice that you get. But when you're already putting me above up a level, you're just never going to get there. And I thought that was some of the best advice that I ever got.
That's amazing. Well, how do you stay grounded working with icons?
Oh man, that's, most of the time they're grounded. I mean, the ones that I really connect with are ones that, they're just normal people. And I have newer actors that see me and go like, "Oh my God, like you've made it." But, everyone's got a different level where they go, "I wish I could have that career or that career," and enjoying your journey. I think that's the biggest thing. And I just feel like I'm really fortunate to make a living in a job like this that I enjoy so much. And that really humbles me because anybody can take my position with all these movies that we do. Anybody can tell a different type of story for a film and a character. And I'm just fortunate when I get a job and I treat that job as seriously as I can and respect everyone on the team as much as I can and the people that I'm working with. And I think that's what kind of grounds me is that I know this isn't it's a hard gig, but I also know there's a lot of people that can do it. And I want to be one of the guys that they pick, that they like to work with, and that I bring a different nuance to the character than anybody else. So yeah, that's how I kind of try to go through life.
You can tell you're very grounded and humble, so it really, shows the way you're talking. So yeah, you're a really cool guy. What's the
Thanks,
best
man.
compliment? No, Isabella. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Best compliment I ever received. Hmm, man, oh, man, that's interesting because there's so many. I just think when people come up and that I've affected them in a role that I've done. I did a film called Personal Effects, and even when I did the play, Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, um, when they come up to me and they thank me for the performance and that I've shown them a little piece of themselves within my performance, that's the best compliment when people can sit back and see a little piece of themselves and connect to that, and it's an emotional journey for them that we just went through, like in Danny and Deeply Sea, or the character I played in Personal Effects. Those are the moments where I feel like it's one of the greatest compliments that I can get, that I've affected somebody.
Yeah, that's terrific. Um, all right. If you were 18 again, you could change anything. This can be personally or professionally. What would you change?
Man, I bet you everyone goes, I wouldn't change a thing. Uh, but but it's interesting. Like for me, I think when I was younger, even though I love trying different things and I love going after different things, I wish I would have been. Um, I wish I didn't have as much fear of trying something, because there were opportunities that I missed because I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I wish it's one of those things where you sit back and you go, I wish I knew then what I know now. That saying that everyone says, I wish I knew then what I knew now. And I think it's one of those moments where the experience and wisdom that I have now, if I had back then, of just saying, I hope I can swear, but just saying fuck it,
Yeah.
and just going for what you want to do. Um, be brave. And at the end of the day, you're not going to die making a decision, even though it may feel like it in your chest and in your head. That if you try to go after something, it feels like death. It's not. It just may not work out. And I think I wish I would have changed some of those decisions early in my career and early in my life, to really stick with things a little bit more, um, and not be afraid to fail. And now I love failing. I think failing is like one of the best things that you can do. Um, but and learning from those failures. But in the beginning, you just kind of get frozen of failing or disappointing others. And I think that's what I would change, is just to go for it more, no fucks given kind of attitude.
Yeah, I love that. And the way I see it too is none of us are getting out of here alive, so why not? You know what I mean? Like literally.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't you wish you would have known that when you're like
Yes, yes.
15? Like it's one of those
100%.
moments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. All
Well,
everything you said. Yeah.
I need to let you know that December 10th, Percy Jackson's new season is coming out on Apple, I think it is. I think it's Apple, Apple or Prime. And so I'm going to the premiere, which I'm really excited about, beginning of December. And I've got a pretty amazing character that I'm doing on this season called Polyphemus, a Cyclops. Had to he's depicted as like 15 feet tall, 900 pounds. So I had to put on some prosthetics and get into some, heavy wardrobe of 5 hours in the chair to get everything on point. Another hour to take off. So an extremely tough gig, but one of the most rewarding gigs I've had in a long time. And the cast of Percy Jackson are just phenomenal. Those kids are, I can't wait to see what they do in their lives. So I think tune in December 10th for Percy Jackson.
That sounds incredible. I'll be definitely watching. Cool. Thank you again. That's it.
Amazing. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Most okay.